That brings us to the tag team division, of which we've covered some, but the Naturals are around. They're a thing. Remember them? Do you remember the Naturals, Liam?
I don't. I try not to remember the Naturals.
Do you have any memory of the existence of the Naturals?
This month? Specifically?
It's probably a question for TNA in general. It's like, do they have any memory of the existence of the Naturals?
Because, like, they weren't there, and then they were just like, alright, defending them against the team that I legitimately thought they were the champions already.
Because like the Naturals are mentioned, as we said, in the opening video on Spike, because they run down the champions like the Naturals. They also at one stage get their own little video, and then the opener of the October 22nd Impact, it's actually not the opener, it's the second match on the show, is America's Most Wanted defeat the Naturals for the NWA World Tag Team titles.
Yeah.
So they're in a video, they get a video, and then they lose the belts.
They clearly did not want to have them, like, anywhere near this.
Again, you gotta go back to the default state, Liam. You gotta get those belts on AMW.
Yeah. They couldn't even wait till the pay-per-view.
Because, well, they wanted to do a rematch on the pay-per-view. Listen, 1.2 million people watched this match.
Well, good on them.
Don literally says, as the Naturals are coming out, people tend to forget the Naturals are tag champs.
Saying the quiet part out loud, dude.
They do work real hard. Like, Chase does a shooting star off the top of the floor.
Yeah. They always try hard. I've never said that the Naturals don't try.
Andy Douglas bleeds buckets in this match.
The story, they have like a 2-week blood feud.
Yeah, like Douglas is bleeding everywhere. They get the heat on him. Harris takes out Rudy with a missed clothesline. Stevens fires up, but Naturals hit Harris with the natural disaster. But the referee is down. Gale accidentally Hurricane Rana as James Storm. I love the idea of an accidental Hurricane Rana.
And it looks really bad.
Yeah, because they don't take the bump properly and they just kind of tumble away. Which I guess is how an accidental Hurricane Rana probably should look, but also it should look better. The Naturals go to natural disaster Gail Kim, who's really in the firing lines. Gail doesn't get to say anything, but she does get to be nearly assaulted on every show.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't know why.
Well, she's a heel.
Well, I know why. This was the stylings of the time.
Was it the same episode that Petey Williams tried to fondle Tracy? No, it wasn't the same episode. That was the very previous episode, to be fair. So back-to-back episodes where women are being assaulted. But yeah, they go to natural disaster Gale, but Jarrett sneaks in, low blows Douglas. Storm then, for the first time in TNA history, smashes a beer bottle over the head of Chase Stevens to win the NWA World Tag Team titles, and we are officially back to the default state of Jarrett AMW style.
For like a week or two?
A day.
A day or two?
A literal day until Rhino wins the belt. But yeah, the beer bottle.
It's nice to see it.
It's a great gimmicked weapon, isn't it?
It might be the best gimmick weapon.
Oh, and James Storm. Was it this match or the pay-per-view match? Oh, it was the pay-per-view match where he was like, the fans threw the bottle in.
Yeah. And he tried to blame the fans and said the fans blew the bottle in, and the ref was like, I guess I can't tell him no.
Yeah. I have no proof to the contrary.
Yeah.
Because it is the downside of, like, it is a phenomenal weapon. Like, it looks so good visually, hitting somebody with a beer bottle. And one of those things, because it's made out of sugar glass, I assume it doesn't hurt remotely. So it's one of those it
doesn't hurt at all.
It's such an awesome pro wrestling weapon. But yeah, the downside is, like, there is evidence everywhere. But don't worry about it.
Yeah, they're trying their best.
AMW are your new tag champs. Then they do a rematch on the pay-per-view, which is pretty okay, but also the same match, but worse maybe. The story of this one is AMW cuff Andy Douglas to the rail to give him the numbers game. Gale distracts Stevens, allowing Storm to hit with the beer bottle. Rudy sees the glass, as said, but Storm accuses a fan of throwing the bottle, which is a tremendous bit. Death sentence on Douglas to retain the titles. I preferred the TV match, had more energy. Chase Stevens at least did shooting stars to the floor.
That's the most you can ask.
It is. As I said, like the Naturals remind me a lot of the Guns in terms of teams that are probably pushed above their station. But my thing is, at least Chase Stevens occasionally moonsaults and or shooting stars.
I thought you meant the Machine Guns for a second there, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, everyone relates Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley to Andy Douglas and Chase Stevens.
Yeah, the two greatest tag teams in TNA history.
Not at all Austin and Colton Gunn. Yeah, they have that same energy of a team that's pushed above their station, who would have a role at a certain level, but that level is not tag team champions. But as I said, the difference being Chase Stevens will occasionally moonsault off a cage. The Naturals have that going for them. We're also a few months away from Chase Stevens shooting starring off a cage, but that will go well for him.
Ooh.
Diamonds in the Rough. They have a month. They're around.
They're around, I guess.
Mm.
Feels generous to say they have a month.
They exist in TNA in this month.
Mm-hmm.
We already talked about David Young and Matt Bentley, and then we just go straight to the pay-per-view. And Skipper lost to Joe. It sets up the Diamonds in the Rough versus Shark Boy, Apollo, and Sonny Siaki.
I say this with like every ounce of love I can have in my heart. These guys can fuck off. Like, they have a good little match here, but they can fuck off. What are we doing?
Yeah, they do try real hard and have like a surprisingly decent little sprinty trios match. But also, yeah, get rid of this. Give the time to Joe and Liger. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Skipper steps up off of Young and Apollo into what was meant to be a Rana on Skipper, but was more like a shining wizard, and it looked awesome.
Yeah, that was like the coolest spot. It wasn't intentional. It was meant to be like a Rana.
Yeah, it would have been a cool spot because like he stepped up off of Young onto Apollo's shoulders over into a Rana on Siaki behind him, which is cool on the surface. But then he fucked up the Rana, but also it looked like a shining wizard, so thumbs up.
They should steal it and keep doing it.
Yeah, Young and Apollo did big dives. That should be their finish, actually. Yeah, the step up shining wizard. Young and Apollo did dives before Young pinned Siaki with a spine buster. That's the Diamonds in the Rough. They had a month.
They sure had a month.